We left voice messages over the weekend trying to get a return call, and we got it this morning. As soon as we got it, we released the information to you folks. And so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
It says in the press release that McDaniel may have fired a gun. What evidence do you have that he did?
Well, we have the officer seeing the handgun come up. These things happen so quickly. The officer actually doesn't know whether he engaged McDaniel with the baton or whether he didn't. It happened so quickly. What we do know is that the deputies fired 6 rounds, and we believe that there are 7 wounds, and counting the one to the canine. The suspect's firearm has an expended cartridge in the gun, and so we believe that the suspect probably shot the canine, but we're not really absolute of that at this point.
You're going to do forensics on the
We're doing a lot of things trying to confirm what happened. What we do know is a deputy was confronted with a firearm in his face at about 5 feet and responded with deadly force.
With all due respect, why did it take so long for that information to come out? I mean, it happened almost a week ago as of tonight, and it took a week to get. If it was so straightforward, if the guy really just did pull a gun in his face, why did it take so long?
Well, because the next question is who shot the dog, and we didn't know. So sometimes investigations take longer than other times. The question was, why haven't you released the suspect's name? We should have released the officers' names, but the suspect we couldn't release until we had notified next of kin. So sometimes these investigations take more time than others. And the worst thing that I can do as the sheriff is give you bad information and then call you back 3 days later and say, that's not true. So we err on the side of caution. In this particular case, I think we could have released the officers' names a little sooner, and we probably could have released some of the information that you just talked about a little sooner than we did. But in retrospect, it's easy in hindsight.
So when did the suspect fire at deputies? Was it before deputies fired at the suspect?
When Warmerdam pulled his nightstick out and was going to engage the suspect with less lethal force to take him into custody, the suspect pulled a firearm out, and Warmerdam fell backwards, drawing his firearm, fired 3 rounds. Deputy Kelly fired 3 rounds, seeing the same threat on his partner. And during that engagement, we believe that the suspect fired. But what we have to go on at this point is that there's an expended cartridge from the handgun that the suspect had. The canine was shot, and there are, we believe, 7 entry wounds with deputies firing 6 rounds. So we're making a lot of assumptions at this point, and I'm just trying to give you what we have. There's no absolute proof of who shot the dog, and we're not alleging that we know that for a fact, but we're kind of looking at the most likely scenario of what occurred.
What were the calibers of the guns?
I don't have it with me.
Is it known why Mr. Christopher McDaniel would have ran away from authorities like that?
Well, he was riding on a stolen motorcycle. That at the time we didn't know it was stolen. We knew he was driving recklessly, and we tried to engage him in a traffic stop, and he refused to stop. Most of the time when we make a traffic stop, the person we're stopping, if they've done something, they know what they've done, and we may not. And that puts us at a disadvantage. That's exactly what happened here.
Tell me about the experience of the deputies. Were they rookies? Were they veterans?
Deputy Warmerdam has been on about 8 years, and Deputy Kelly about 6 years. So they're experienced deputies that have some time working patrol.
Have they ever been in an officer-involved shooting?
I don't have the information whether they've been involved in prior shootings or not.
Let me ask you this. Is there any thought to send these types of cases to independent agencies such as the
No.
Department of Justice?
No.
Can you explain why?
Why would I?
Because something like this maybe needs to be reviewed by an independent agency for transparency.
Is there anything wrong with it being double-checked?
Double checked by whom? Why not triple check? If the public trusts us to go out with a gun and a badge and arrest people and take their liberties away, they have to trust that we in the administration are going to do a proper investigation and a transparent investigation of what occurred. If not, we would be dishonest. I would be, as a sheriff, would be dishonest, and I'm not. As a sheriff, I would have to be less than honest with you folks, and I'm not. So if you're talking about a citizen shooting review board, It would be like me judging one of you on your value as a reporter. I've never been a reporter. I don't know whether you're good, bad, or indifferent because I don't do what you do. And so to ask someone about an officer-involved shooting when they've never worked a beat is, in my opinion, inappropriate.
What is their status right now? Are they still on leave, and how's the review going?
Until the review board meets, they will be on administrative leave. I don't think it'll be much longer. We should be ready to put them back to work and go from there.
Was
Have they
Mr.
been on
McDaniel under the,
admin leave since
I'm
day
sorry.
one?
I'm sorry.
Have they been on admin leave?
Yeah, when we have an officer-involved shooting, they're automatically placed on administrative leave until their shooting review board meets. Yes, sir.
was the suspect under any kind of influence of drugs or alcohol?
We have not gotten the toxicology back yet.
And just to recap, did you guys know the bike was stolen right away, or were they pulling him over for something else?
No, they were pulling him over for his driving pattern, the erratic driving pattern. When he refused to stop, of course, your suspicions go up that there's something else going on, because generally people that are driving badly pull over for police and either take the ticket or whatever they get. In this particular case, he refused to stop, and in fact, they either let him go or lost sight of him, and he continued driving erratically until he lost control of the motorcycle.
How's the dog doing? He had surgery, a couple days after the shooting. How's the dog doing?
And that's another issue. The dog was taken to a local vet first, and the local vet said needs to go to Antelope Valley, where there's a good surgeon that does this type of stuff. When we got him there, the surgeon decided that he needed to go to LA, that he would be better served, and he was stabilized. And we think the dog will be back in 4 to 6 months. But an injury like that to an animal is pretty difficult, and so we'll have to see.
Will
You
we
talked
go back
about
into
this
service?
board that...
Yes, if he's capable.
You talked about this board that reviews the
Yes.
the officer involved. Can you explain to me how that works? Who's on the board?
Homicide detectives are called out on anytime there's an officer-involved shooting. They do an investigation. The investigation is then, once it's completed, presented to 3 bureau chiefs and the commander of the division of the officer that's involved in the shooting. Once that is made presented to them, those officers, the bureau chiefs and the commander, will make a determination whether the officers used deadly force within state law and within our department policy.
And all those people work for the sheriff's office?
That is correct.
So 3 bureau chiefs and a commander?
The affected commander, yes.
Is there any surveillance video or cell phone video taken from maybe eyewitnesses?
We believe there is some video from the store, and we're working on getting that.
Not any cell phone video from witnesses?
Not that I'm aware of. We heard the rumor from you folks that there were cell phone videos. We have not seen that. We'd encourage it if somebody has that to bring it forward.
And another side of the story about the helicopter, has the FAA been in touch with you, and have they brought the chopper back from Tehachapi and repaired it?
The helicopter's in our hangar, and we've been in contact with NTSB, yes.
And how's that part of the investigation?
That's a personnel issue that is administrative, and I can't, the officers, I can't talk about it.
So were there bullets retrieved from the dog, and approximately how many did you say that there were?
I'm not sure if I understand your question. If you're talking about the round was not retrieved. No, it went through and through.
Okay.
Generally, they fragment when they strike something.
Okay.
What about the individual? Did they go through and through?
I don't think I want to talk about the deceased individual and the wounds.
Okay, do you know where they were in his body?
I don't think I want to talk about the wounds of the suspect. I don't really think it's material to this conversation. The coroner's office might be able to give you some information, but there's some respect that needs to be held for the suspect.
Oh, the motorcycle. I heard somewhere one of the TV stations said that there was a guy from Taft who recognized the bike. Will that be given back to him, or is it in evidence for a while? Do you know the disposition?
Are you talking about the motorcycle being given back to the owner?
Correct. The original. Yeah.
Yes. Ultimately, the motorcycle will be returned to the owner.
Do you know who the owner is?
I do. I'm not going to release his name. He is an Iraqi veteran, from what I understand, but we're not going to release his name.
At the time, there was rumors that Christopher McDaniel may have been a military veteran. Has that been confirmed at all?
Not to my knowledge.
What happens next? What's the next steps for you guys?
I'm not sure I understand your question. We go through a process. This investigation is not over today. It will continue on until we've worked every angle that we possibly can. And if something were to come to surface in the investigation that's different than what I told you, I'd be calling you back and saying it's different than what I told you. I hope that doesn't happen. That's one reason we try and wait as long as we can and get all the information so that we don't give you folks bad information, ultimately giving the community bad information, because we want the community to have the truth and to know exactly what we know or what we think transpired.
Yeah, is there anything you really want to say specifically to the community in regards to this situation?
No.
The bike was stolen. Was the gun stolen?
I don't know the answer to that.
Do you know if he's a prior felon? Which would that make?
I don't know that.
Okay.
And he's the only person you're looking at right now. He wasn't acting in concert
Correct.
with anybody?
Correct.
I'm good.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Certainly.
Oh, I have one more. Do you know how many miles or blocks in total the pursuit went?
I don't. It was not a link to it. Stayed in the Oildale area over here. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't.